Well, I think people misinterpret it. I think it's greatly misinterpreted. To be assertive, they call it aggressive. I call focused, they call it RBF.
Hi, y'all. I'm Rhonda from RK3 Designs, and I am so excited to welcome you guys to the Pro Artisan Podcast. This is a space for artisan professionals to discuss matters of both business and the heart. Hey guys, this is Rhonda with RK3 Designs, and today we have special guest Kelle Sullivan with Tiger Sports Complex here in Seguin, Texas. I know there's, many people say you always have like a twin and not necessarily looking, but I think our souls are parallel.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I can't wait for you to see what she has to talk about. We're going to talk about being a strong woman. And Kelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am one of the owners of the Tiger Sports Complex. We have a volleyball complex here, which houses 14 club teams under Texas Tiger Volleyball that I manage, club director for that. We also have CrossFit Seguin, which is the building next door, which houses our CrossFit facility. I'm a trainer for CrossFit Seguin, as well as I run my own programming under Next Level Fitness.
And you're adding on. Tell us about that.
We're adding on. We're adding 8 sand courts in the back, 4 of which will be undercover. The roof unit will be bigger, actually, than the building that we're in right now. At the peak, it's 46 feet tall. Quite large. Actually, we're told it's probably one of the biggest, if not the only, in the state of Texas, going to be of its kind. So super excited to start having some qualifier tournaments here this summer for the juniors. We'll also have, adult programming and leagues and some family fun stuff going on as well. So those 8 courts should be busy all summer long.
Wow. And I've seen it grow from the ground up, and doesn't even faze me. I know this is this is just amazing for you guys.
It's super exciting because it's something that the community needs. And I think it will definitely grow here. But the great thing is just our location, where we're located here on I-35, 46, I-10. It's such a great focal point. I have folks coming from Del Rio and El Paso and Columbus, all the way up, Dallas, that direction that comes to our tournaments now. So when we have the sand courts, it's just going to bring so much more traffic to our community, which, means dollars. Yeah, means dollars in our gas stations, means for our restaurants, our hotels. I mean, this is something that's going to be very positive for our community, and I'm excited for Seguin for that. Anyway, it's in process, and just excited to have my whole family involved in that. In all of it.
That's cool working with your family, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There's challenges like anything else, but it's that sense of that you're building something together. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The legacy, something that you're going to leave, something that your kids understand the passion, are part of the passion, and something that they want to carry on. That
and see
they
the
have
hard work.
In. Absolutely.
Work ethics is what you're also passing down, not just a building. In
For sure.
business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are sitting in her gymnasium. There's 4 courts here. Her daughter's actually given some private lessons down on the end. So if you hear bumping ever so often, that's work in progress. So I met Kelle when we were in, our kids went to Lifegate, which is a small school here in Seguin, Texas. And at first, we would just, I remember like it was yesterday when we were all talking, and I was like, yeah, I used to lift weights. And Kelle goes, well, I lift weights. And I used to do this. Well, I used to do that too. And then we just had this bond with us. And I think the thing that most struck me about you, and still does, is that you are a very strong woman, and in so many aspects. And I, as a strong woman, appreciate that so much. You have no idea.
Well, let me just interject. Not everybody appreciates that.
We're going to talk about that. And let me tell you, that's why I wanted you on this podcast. So my first question is, what does being a strong woman mean to you?
Well, you can take that in a literal sense. You can flip a tire. You can, throw around a barbell.
Yeah, show her your guns. Come on, this woman's got some guns.
No. So in the literal sense, obviously you can be strong. You know, I've been a power lifter for a long time earlier in my years. Not so much now, but beyond that is being strong to me means being able to stand up, hold your head up high when things aren't going right, when the wrong thing happens, when people try to lead you astray down a path you don't want to go. But there's a lot of peer pressure maybe to do that. And I'm talking to the young girls out there right now because, you know, you can be strong, but then you can have friends who try to coerce you and sway you to go down a different path because that's where the popularity is, or that's where everything else is. And they push you that direction. You've got to be really strong. You've got to be strong for yourself. You've got to be strong in your convictions. And I think the thing that has to be the strongest is your faith.
No, absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. And you have to be, in this time and age, unfortunately, standing up for your faith is a lot harder than it used to be.
Oh, for sure.
When we were growing up, you know, and we didn't have social media and we didn't have all of those outside influences that kids nowadays are facing. And it is a harder thing for these kids to do, and adults. I mean, I see young adults struggling with it as well. But yeah, I'm very strong in my faith, and I know you are as well. So I agree with holding your head up and being able to walk through. Sometimes people have a tendency to kind of gravitate to those stronger people because they want someone to lead them. And I've always known you to be a leader, whether I remember when you were coaching at LifeGate, I remember how people gravitated to you then. And, like I said, that's always been, really inspirational to me. So what challenges do you think we face as strong women?
Well, I think people misinterpret it. I think it's greatly misinterpreted to be, assertive. They call it aggressive. I call focused. They call it RBF. You know,
yes.
I smile, but I'm not a smiley person. I'm not a giggly person.
Yep.
I'm not a belly laugh person. I mean, I do those things, but they don't come freely, and I don't want to say easily, but I'm not a slapstick comedy kind of person at all. But I am fun and I am funny, but I'm a kind of person who has a lot of layers, and I like to get to know somebody before I kind of maybe start showing more of that. Yeah. But I have definitely been accused of, which is probably really true, hard to read, hard to get to know. My coaches will tell you they were all pretty much scared to death of me before they got to know me. Some of them might still be, my new ones. And, you know, Skylar will tell me that, and she'll say, Mom, they're just scared of you. And I'm like, well, I don't know why.
See,
I'm the nicest person ever.
Yeah.
But they don't see that. Well, then they see the focused Kelly. They see the one that's responsible for many things. They see the one that has lots of things on her plate. So she's not just thinking about what our conversation is. She's thinking about the 10 other things that probably still need to be done. And so I don't mean that as a negative, and I don't mean that offensively to the people in my circle or around me. But sometimes I probably don't look as cheerful as maybe I feel on the inside, or as open as I am.
I get you so much. I get you because I've had people come into my class and they'll say, "Oh, I've just watched every one of your videos, or I've this or I've that," and they're very standoffish because they say, "You're just so assertive, and you're just, you're not scared of anything." Well, first of all, there's a lot of things I'm scared of. I just don't choose to show you all of that. Now, Kenny can tell you. He knows exactly when I'm about to lose it. But I, too, have been accused of being I'll just say it, a bitch, because when you get focused and you see something that you want, you're going to go for it. No matter what obstacles are in your way, you're going to figure out a way to get through those obstacles, and come out on the other end, no matter what. And a lot of people look at that as, well, she's just going to run over anybody that it takes to run over, which is the farthest thing from my mind.
Exactly.
The farthest thing from my mind. But I'm a sweet person, huh? As I look into the peanut gallery over there. But I have a huge heart. I have a huge heart for people. And just like you see a goal and you're going to face
Absolutely.
it. So, yeah. So, other than fear, what else tears you down mentally?
When I see pain in others, things that you really don't have control over that you would like to help, you reach out and you do what you can, but there's nothing in our control. Let's be honest. I want to say there's very little in our control. There's nothing in our control. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah.
And I think things that affect those that are close to you, that you can love and support and do what you can for them, but really in the end, there's really nothing else you can do. So that probably tears me. I
did a podcast yesterday with Emily, and she asked me that same question, and I was trying to think what really scares me, like physically. Now I don't mean like boo, that kind of scare, but what really scares me down deep. And it was exactly what you said, the fear of not being able to control something that I'm so passionate about. And that scares me. And you can control a lot that goes on here because you're prepared. Not being prepared to me scares me.
Yeah.
Going into something where you're not prepared, knowing you're going to have a huge tournament and you're not prepared will probably scare you, right?
Well, just keep me up most of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm making sure I'm prepared.
Right.
So then I'm over prepared.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a class if I'm not prepared for that class, I'm scared. If I know I am prepared mentally, physically, I have everything done, I have so much confidence when people start walking in. Okay, this is a good one. What is your why? Deep down inside, what is your why? I get very emotional about my why, so we're okay with emotions here.
My why is because I don't want to let... I am going to get emotional.
It's okay, because I will too.
Because I don't want to let God down. He has given so much time and talent and opportunity in so many areas of my life, through the construction years, through the gym years, through the coaching years, through, I think about the whole talent verses where, he gives you so many and some of them bury them and they try to save them and keep them, and some negotiate, but at the end, what it is, you have to spend them and use them. You can't hang on to them because they're not anything that's going to be of value if you do that.
Yeah.
They're given to be used.
Right.
I think my why is I want to make sure that I do everything that is expected of me, that I can, and not leave anything to waste.
Yeah. And I know from one strong woman's opinion to another strong woman's opinion, that was very hard for you to just say that.
It was.
It was very hard for you to open, because that's a side of you that
doesn't get out much.
Right. It may in your little circle, and if you're like me, you have a very small circle. Very tight, very small circle. We have a large circle of people that are our acquaintances, but our inner circle is locked down tight. And those are the people that we're the most passionate about, and those are the people that are in my why reason. And we, as strong women, we've raised some strong kids.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And we say that with, oh my God,
I laugh with that.
But yes, but as hard as it's been sometimes raising these strong-willed kids, we wouldn't want it any other way.
Oh, for sure not.
Yeah, because
absolutely,
I know my kids are going to face harder times in their future than maybe I faced in my past, because they have so many more things against them than I feel like I had growing up. And I want to make sure those kids are prepared for that. And they know how to hold their heads up and they know how to walk through that. You know, my kids are 100% total polar opposites as far as their personalities and how they handle things. But both of those kids could walk through fire and back and make it out okay. And I know that about your kids.
Absolutely.
I've seen them grow up. And if y'all don't know, I think I said Sky's back there giving a volleyball lesson right now. And you should have seen her face when we told her she had to be quiet. She looked at me like, what? You do realize I'm giving a volleyball lesson, right?
Which she's very passionate about.
Yes, yes. So what are you the most proud of?
My family. Mm-hmm. I'm extremely proud. I'm extremely proud of my husband and all that he's been able to do and accomplish in our life together. You know, he's off on a new tangent now. You know, we all know he can build anything.
Yes, we do.
We joke when we call him Bob the Builder, but he can. He can figure it out if it's not on paper and how to get from A to Z when there's no directions. So I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of his new career path that he took. He's now at Central States.
I know. I bought many a material over there.
Yeah, and he's excited to be on the other side of the desk selling instead of always buying all the material because he feels his knowledge is something that he can share with folks.
Absolutely.
And help them save money and time and all of that. So I'm proud of that. Super proud of him. I'm proud of my kids on what they've accomplished, where they've come in their life. You know, my son is adopted from Russia. So I'm super proud of, I know there's a lot of things that go on in his head all the time because of stuff like that. But he is so much a Sullivan. And
yes, and he looks just so much like Frank.
Oh,
it's
he does.
Incredible. Yeah.
It's amazing. So he's so much the family. He is the family. And I'm proud of what he's doing. He's going down a little different path. You know, we really wanted him to maybe stay in the construction side of things. And he's a amazing individual when it comes to that. He can put together anything, take it apart, put it back together again with minimal effort. So he's going to school right now in San Antonio to do that. And he wanted to pursue that side of it, but he's still very involved here. He's here every weekend when we have tournaments. He helps me here. He picks up the slack. He's my maintenance guy here. He does a lot of the stuff outside because Frank does have a different job now. So Steele's kind of filled those roles and has come in and really helped. So he's really much a backbone is here as well. You know, Skylar helps me run the programming, or she does all of the programming for all of our stuff here and very much a part of the club scene. So,
and that's been a passion of hers since she was little. Yeah. She's been athlete from day one.
Yes. So she was excited to graduate from college and be able to wear shorts and tennis shoes every day to work. So. And she's become a big CrossFitter too, you know. When I first tried to get her going, she was not interested a couple years ago. She kind of started changing her tune on that, and now she's way past her mama and just really setting her own standards and records and really has some goals for herself.
Tell me about your goal setting. Do you physically write them down? Do you and Frank sit down and talk about goals? Kind of, how do you handle goals?
Frank and I verbalize a lot. What we want to see, what we expect, what we would like to do. I'm a list person. I like to write things down. I like to make it visual for me, so I can be very specific. I do both short-term and long-term goals depending on what I'm looking at for personal. You know, I have a lot of personal goals that I do for health and fitness, and those can be, you know, a day, those can be a week, those can be a month, just kind of depending on what that is. For our business here, for that, you know, when it's coming up for a new volleyball season, I'll say, this is what my goal is. This is how many teams I want to have this year. And Skylar always says I'm a little over rambunctious when it comes to that, and I reached a little bit too high. And
I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Kelle Sullivan.
But I do. I have expectations, you know. But I have a lot of expectations, you know, not just for myself and for my goals, but for people. And I think, kind of going back to a little bit before, I think sometimes people might get a little sideways with me when they feel like my expectations are a little bit unreal. but I don't have any expectations more for somebody else than I wouldn't have for myself.
Absolutely. I was hoping you were going to
So
say
I
that.
hold them just as accountable as I hold myself. So sometimes I think, especially with our coaching staff and stuff, something like, Kelly, come on, really? And I'm like, that I expect that,
Right.
but I don't expect anything less from myself.
Right.
I don't expect anything less from my daughter, my son, my husband, from most people in my life. So everybody pretty much gets the same playing field as far as expectations go.
Man, that is one of the reasons that you're a rock star in my eyes. You are. I mean, I don't say that just because I'm in front of a microphone. I've said that for years. And I've always admired you and admired your strength and the fact that, you're kind of a no BS person. And let me know if I'm wrong about this. When someone meets you and you give them what you are, they can't turn around and say that you sugarcoat things or that's not the real Kelly. I feel like if I sit down and ask you, what do you think about this? You're going to tell me. And I don't have to walk away from that conversation going, is that what she really thinks? Or was she just telling me that to make me feel good?
I'm pretty transparent.
Yeah.
I'm very black and white.
Yeah.
With pretty much everything in my life.
Yeah.
Very, very much so, probably to a fault. Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah. Well,
you're going to know. If you're going to ask me a question, I'm going to tell you.
And don't ask if you don't want the answer.
And I love it because Skylar is the exact same way. Mm-hmm. And she gets frustrated when, let's say, close friends will ask her opinion and she tells them and they can't handle that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, sister.
Sister.
Get used to that. Because
yes.
if you're going to ask me, I'm going to tell you.
You're right.
Now, if you don't like the answer, if you can't handle the answer, then you might want to rethink asking.
Yeah. I'm
so we're
definitely
on the same page.
Yeah.
I know we are.
Yeah. And the thing is we also, knowing that we're like that, knowing that some people look at that as aggression, I've had to also learn when I'm talking to someone that maybe doesn't have that personality to kind of give it to them and then kind of help them digest it a little bit, and so I've had teaching classes. I've had to really learn to verbalize a little less strong.
Well, I think also who your audience is, and I think how your audience receives it. So you're going to talk to me one way. Mm-hmm. You're going to talk to Susie over here a little differently. I think the information that you communicate is the same, mm-hmm. but the delivery is different.
And that takes practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we learned that.
Still learning.
Yeah. Still learning. So, well, Kelly, we could talk all day. We literally could talk all day. And I just want to tell you, friend, I'm so glad that you're in my circle.
I'm in your circle.
Yeah. And
absolutely in your circle.
We don't see each other a lot, but I keep up with you and you keep up with me.
And I keep up with you. And I just have to say, I'm still staring at it in such amazement. When you were going through the whole process of your travels to get your bionic leg.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited for you that you were able to find that.
Yeah.
And they were able to just change your life.
They did.
They did change your life.
Yeah. And you saw it.
I did. Yeah. I watched it. I watched it all unfold, and it was such a fabulous thing to watch. But God is so good that way. He is so amazing that way, that he just puts things in our path, and you're like, well, how did that happen? How did we find that? I'm like, we didn't find anything.
Yeah.
Like this fella that we just hired to run our new sand program. I'm like, I was literally thinking, how will we know? I mean, sand is a little bit different than indoor. And if a resume hits my desk, my email, and I'm like, where'd this guy come from? I'm like he literally just
doink.
I'm like, how did that happen? Well, how does any of this happen?
I know.
So it doesn't really matter what business we run. I know you've had several in your life. Mm-hmm. Frank and I have had many. It doesn't matter what we're in charge of at the moment. In reality, we both know that we really don't own anything, and there's mm-hmm. nothing that's ours. It's ours to use while we're here, mm-hmm. but it's not ours as far as ownership. And if we don't use it to our fullest capability to benefit him, there's no point in it at all.
Right. I agree. And, we don't have to be the kind of people that walk around with, Jesus on our shirt.
I'm not.
Or I mean, neither. And I'm not a saint. I have my shits and dams ever so often, But
I think that makes us real.
It does make us real. And I never, ever have been accused of being a fake. That's just something that I'm not. So
that's why we love you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
We do.
And I do. So we could talk for hours, and I just really wish you could just feel the vibe from this woman like that I feel when I'm sitting next to her. But if you enjoyed this podcast, give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell for future notification. You're good at that, Kelly.
I am. I'll give you a thumbs up, sister.
Yeah, and leave us some comments, maybe some subjects or questions for future podcasts. And who knows, we may have you on again one day. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.